Morning and welcome to the chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2. I'm David Lovejoy.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rhonda Lahnert.
And I'm Chuckalicious, Chuck Williams.
This marks the 8th year of the National Day of Racial Healing. It's hosted by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation with the theme Connect, Build Relationships, Bridge Divides. The annual observance is held every year on the Tuesday following Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's time to acknowledge the values we share as people, build trust in one another, and develop some authentic relationships. Hashtag how we heal from the effects of racism. Today, we're joined by Dr. Alandra Washington. She's the President of Transformation and Organizational Effectiveness for the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. She's here to talk about the National Day of Healing. Doctor, thank you for taking time out for us today.
David, thank you for having us today.
I'm going to be honest, Doctor. A couple of years ago during the George Floyd incident, so it'd be about 2020, my grandfather hoped, my great-grandfather hoped that he gave my grandfather a better life, a better world to come into. My father hoped that he gave me a better world to come into, and I thought I had given my son a better world to improve. But after the events of George Floyd and Charlottesville and things like that over that time period, I saw the fabric being unraveled. And at one point, and I'm not a negative thinking person, but I thought, we're no better than we are than 1963 or 1954. We're right back in the spot. So it's almost like we haven't learned a lesson. What is the hurdle, and what's the thing that we need to do to kind of involve this healing, this change, the anger, the bitterness? What can we do?
Such great insights and a great question, David. And the thing that we talk about at the W.K. Kellogg Foundation is the real opportunity for racial healing on this journey. And racial healing is an opportunity for everyone, regardless of your background, regardless of your ethnicity and race. We know that racism is an element that has divided this country. And in order to make a real difference with the issues of systemic injustice and racism, it is about healing and how we can come together and heal as a country.
So I love the theme. Do you have a new theme every year? I want to say it again because I just love it. Connect, build relationships, and bridge divides. How do you come up with themes? Do you change them? What's the thought process behind all of this?
Thanks, Rhonda. I appreciate that. A couple of things for us. It changes a little bit year to year. The overall context is about healing and how we ground in those deep, authentic relationships. When we talk about racial healing, we're talking about creating conditions in communities where folks can come together and build trust among one another and help repair and restore communities back to wholeness. And so when we talk about the themes of connecting and coming together, that really is us being able to come together and stand in our truth, to do some real truth telling so folks can understand and know the impact of racism and how it has shaped one's life experience. But we don't just want the truth telling to happen, we also want to inspire collective action. So how do we come together in community, building those deep relationships so that we can see real change? And David, I loved what you talked about, your grandfather creating a better world, you wanting to create a better world for your children. And I always say I have 4 grandbabies, ages 2 to 16. I want to be able to create a better world for them, and I want to see it in my lifetime. So definitely this racial healing work we think is a key essential element to racial equity and transforming systems.
What part do you think is not getting through to the general public?
I think sometimes it's hard for the general public to even know how to embrace, how to step up and have these kinds of conversations, because they are hard conversations and challenging conversations. On our website, dayofracialhealing.org, we have resources, conversation guides, and tools that people can download and actually use as conversation starters, as a way to understand, how do you even have a conversation around these issues of race and systemic racism and inequities? And what does that look like when I can sit down with my neighbor, with a friend, with a family member at the dinner table and have these kinds of conversations? So we invite everyone to go to our website, dayofracialhealing.org, and download those tools and conversation guides to help you get started in this journey.
The doctor, I come from a world where things, you have to take responsibility for things, and this isn't a one-sided discussion. As an African American in America, there are some things that we as people need to improve to start this healing. One of them is opening up those line of communications, and one of those is not to react with anger at everything. Everything's not in the front and degrade or something to you. It's sometimes based in misunderstanding. How can, as an individual, as a person, what steps would you suggest anybody take to get the conversation started, to do it in a non-confrontational way, and somewhere where we can get some real results out of these discussions?
No, I appreciate that question. I think the first thing, and we talk about it in our racial equity work, is it's first an individual reflection of oneself, and really asking the question, how has race and racism shaped my life experience? How do I see the world through the lens of racism? And then what are those things that really come up for me as an individual in that space? And so there is some self-reflection that definitely needs to take place. I think the other piece, though, is being able to connect with others and have that conversation. We always say that this racial healing work and this journey is people-powered work, and we advise no one to take this journey alone and by yourself, but really connect with others where you're able to have those critical conversations, and in safe spaces where people can uphold you and upgird you in ways that affirm your dignity, affirm your humanity, and affirm your value. And so it really starts with self-reflection. And then once you're feeling good about where you are in that space, how you're having that conversation with others.